Phillip Russell, Brad Korn from Semo joined us here on OVC Media Day, presented by CenterPoint Energy. We're live at the Evansville Doubletree, adjacent to the Ford Center, where these two gentlemen hope to be playing in March. Welcome, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And made the trip from the Cape. So, all right, let's go from the top. It's easy, and it's time to start asking the question of you, Brad. Used to this conference, feel your way around, and then all of a sudden we changed conference alignment and we changed teams. So I'm guessing just the point you figured you got it figured out, change comes again.
Yeah, and I think when you look back at it on the first COVID year, there's 12 teams still in the league. We only played Belmont once. Jacksonville State only came to us the one time. So then it goes to 10 teams, true round robin, which I'm used to, but we didn't play Tennessee Tech in that season, only played 17 conference games last year. So to your point, just when you think you've got it figured out, things change, and unfortunately, that's just kind of the way that college basketball is going these days, and college athletics in general. So you got to roll with the punches, be ready to go, and but it's a very interesting, unique league, and I'm really proud to be a part of it.
And the typical question about NIL and transfer portal and all that's coming soon, but let's get to meet Phillip Russell. Talk a little bit about this young man to your right.
You know, when Phillip came to us, it just was one of those situations. Again, COVID, there wasn't a true official visit. There wasn't the true recruiting process for myself. And to get him on campus and all the things that he brings, he's got a big personality, much like any other athlete, soft-spoken in front of the media, but you put him in his element, you put him on that court, you let him compete. He brings it 110% every single time. So just the energy that he brings, the knowledge, the IQ, the basketball IQ that he has coming from a great high school program, great AAU program, and bringing those winning values and characteristics to our program has been much needed.
Phillip, can't be that guy, can't be that quiet guy on this. This is a ruckus, loud place, okay? No library voices allowed here, okay? Talk about it. Coach touched on it just briefly, but talk about your journey to Semo.
My journey to Semo, it was really, how can I put this? It was fun, I could say that, and it was really an easy decision, really, with the relationship I had with the coaching staff. And when I entered the portal, I knew when all the staff reached back out, I knew that was home. So it was a no-brainer.
With your skill and talent set, what do you think you bring to this Semo team?
I would say leadership, and mainly leadership. That's probably the biggest thing I could bring, and energy. Like I said, I'm a big energy guy. So yeah, that's it.
All right, we hear a lot, we talk a lot about St. Louis being a recruiting hotbed, great high school basketball. But I think as I go through my notes, you're the only one that can really tell me, that's from St. Louis proper, really tell me what high school basketball is like in St. Louis. Want to take a shot at it?
No, sir.
How big? I mean, how competitive is it? Do they break it up into regions and districts, or how is it played out? It's such an enormous city.
They do break it up into districts. You go through you go to the game, go through all the games to get to the championship. But they break it up in districts, and like I say, in St. Louis, it's very competitive basketball. Like you either can lay down or stand up.
And when it comes to the difference between Cape and St. Louis, is it fair to say it's night and day?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to help us outsiders when it comes to that, because you hear so much about it, and now that we've got a school nearby in the conference in Lindenwood, kind of paying attention to it more before than we ever did. This guy to your left is pretty good college basketball player, pretty good college basketball coach. How do you feel two tournaments, 2 rounds through this conference? How do you feel about it, Brad?
You know what, I like that you said 2 tournaments. That's something that hadn't happened for our program in a long time. So now that we're in that conversation, when I first came, it was kind of a little bit of a woe is me situation around town. And now this year people are like, oh, you guys are going to be pretty good this year. And it was so to have that change and to have that mindset change for our program was key, because we should be in those conversations. We should be coming to this conference tournament. We should have a goal of staying in this hotel because this is where the 1 seed stays. So to me, that's what we were trying to do and we're striving to do, to build that program, and players like Phillip and the rest of our guys on our roster being able to play the right way, act the right way, and treat people the right way has put us in that conversation. So never means you're there, never means you're satisfied, never means that you're just going to show up and do it. But I do feel that we've laid that foundation to come back here year in and year out, because I do think that Semo deserves that. I think we have the resources to do that, and I think we have the players to do that.
You have a great history of playing in that area of Southern Illinois, in the DeKalb, and a little bit into the Midwest as well. What's your recruiting grounds? I mean, we're looking at a great player from St. Louis beside you.
Yeah, and you look at other players. We also have Kobe Clark from St. Louis, who played high school basketball with Phillip. We have Dylan Branson from St. Louis. We have guys from Tennessee, which really all of our guys, there's only one in a junior college guy, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's outside of a 5 to 6 hour car ride radius.
Right.
And so I think that's the main thing. And when you look back at all the great teams I was a part of at SIU in the Missouri Valley and in Carbondale, it was kind of that same blueprint, if you will. And I think that's important when guys, your family wants to see you play. I know the world has shrunk and we have technology and ESPN Plus and all this, but your people still want to see you. Sure. And when you're having a bad day as a young person, you need to go see your people as well. And so now maybe with all the portal and everything else, you're able to fight through some of those hard times. I think that's very, very important, because there's good players everywhere. It doesn't – surely we can go get a player from California, and sure we could go get one from New York, but there's also probably a guy right there in Missouri that we can have on our team as well. And it's going to mean a little bit more to that kid from Missouri who comes to Southeast.
And that plays into your scheduling as well. So if you would real quickly just talk about your schedule for the upcoming season.
Very challenging.
And how you put that together.
Yeah, challenging schedule. Obviously we have things that we have to do administratively, but we did a lot of traveling a year ago, and I thought it kind of wore us out. And I didn't want to do that this year. I wanted to stay somewhat regional, be able to get guys back home. We have a young man on our team who's a senior from Florida. We're going to go down to Florida and play. We have guys from northern Chicago, so we're going to go play a tournament in Milwaukee. And so we try to keep it regional, again, so your people can come and see you. Schedules don't always work out. Guys have, parents have work and everything else like that. So we try to stay keep our travel down and still play a very competitive schedule. We have Missouri on the schedule this year, Iowa. We're at Bradley. We have SIU, Evansville. So we have Missouri Valley, which is a good brand of basketball. That's what
Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Yeah.
So it's really been all over the place. But again, it's regional and it's very competitive.
Phillip, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Brad Korn, the same to you as well. Best of luck to both of you as you continue. It's going to be a really interesting season. We're integrating in a lot of new schools into this conference. It's going to be really interesting to see. Your travel's pretty heavy, too. Although it's regional, it's pretty heavy, too. Right. Phillip's nodding in agreement. OVC Media Day continues after this. We've got one more in our first block, Eastern Illinois, up next. This is presented by CenterPoint Energy. Back after this.